When you hear the name Spartacus, you probably picture the ultimate ancient underdog, the noble gladiator who threw off his chains, rallied the oppressed, and led a righteous, deliberate crusade to abolish slavery in the Roman Republic. That image of him as a freedom fighter is so powerful that he became a universal icon for working-class uprisings throughout modern history. Karl Marx actually called him the most splendid fellow in the whole of ancient history. But there is zero historical evidence that Spartacus ever actually attempted to end the institution of slavery. The truth is, we don't have a single word written by Spartacus himself, or from his followers, or even from an eyewitness. Every surviving account of the rebellion was written by elite Roman historians, compiling records more than a century after he died. Stripping away the modern political myths and the ancient Roman spin leaves a historical reality that is much messier, far more desperate, and incredibly brutal. The Third Servile War began in the city of Capua in 73 BC as a desperate prison break. Roughly 70 gladiators plotted an escape from a brutal training school. They fought their way to the streets using completely improvised, low-tier weaponry, mostly kitchen utensils like choppers and spits, before they managed to seize a wagon of actual gladiatorial armor. The Roman Senate treated this breakout as a minor local policing matter. With their main military legions fighting in Spain and the East, Rome simply dispatched a basic, unfortified militia to deal with the escapees. That militia cornered Spartacus on Mount Vesuvius, expecting to easily starve the rebels into surrender. Instead, Spartacus proved to be a brilliant tactician. His men wove ropes out of wild vines, rappelled down the steepest, unguarded side of the volcano, and completely wiped out the Roman camp from behind. This data visualization tracks the sheer scale of what happened next. Following that early ambush, the rebellion exploded. The initial 70 escapees recruited heavily from the countryside, swelling their ranks to an estimated 70,000 fighters. But as this breakdown shows, this massive force was heavily fractured. It included rural slaves, tough local shepherds, and even disgruntled military veterans. They frequently disagreed on what to do next. Some factions wanted to march north and cross the Alps to freedom, while others preferred to stay and plunder the Italian countryside. Spartacus was leading a chaotic, divided survival campaign. Yet, through sheer momentum and tactical wins, this fractured group accidentally evolved into an existential threat to the Republic. After suffering multiple humiliating defeats, the Senate panicked. They granted supreme command to Marcus Licinius Crassus, tasking him with completely eliminating the threat. Crassus was the wealthiest man in Rome, and he used his own vast fortune to personally raise and equip 8 full legions, upwards of 40,000 highly trained Roman soldiers. To ensure absolute obedience, Crassus revived a terrifying psychological tool known as decimation. He had 1/10 of his own retreating men beaten to death by their comrades, ensuring his soldiers feared him far more than they feared the rebel army. Crassus drove the rebels into the southern tip of Italy. Spartacus tried to negotiate a deal with Cilician pirates to ferry his forces across the strait to Sicily, but the pirates took his money and abandoned them, cutting off the final escape route. Starving and boxed in by heavily fortified walls, discipline among the rebels collapsed. They splintered into smaller groups, launching uncoordinated attacks until they were routed entirely in a desperate final stand in 71 BC. A loose coalition of shepherds and escaped captives simply couldn't outlast the endless economic resources and brutal discipline of the Roman military machine. When the dust settled, the ancient battlefield was so destroyed that Spartacus's body was never identified or recovered. Crassus then implemented a horrific final measure to ensure the Republic understood the rebellion was truly over. He took 6,000 captured rebels and crucified them along the Appian Way. The crosses lined the road from Rome to Capua, covering a distance of 100 miles. Roman historians had to explain how their elite legions kept losing to unarmed farmers and gladiators. To excuse their military failures, they intentionally elevated Spartacus in their writings, portraying him as a brilliant, noble savage and an unusually gifted commander. Because Spartacus left no written manifesto and no documented political ideology, he became a historical blank slate. Over the next 2 millennia, Everyone from the Bavarian Illuminati to 20th century communists projected their own specific struggles onto his story. He died violently, failing to secure a safe passage out of Italy. But that absolute lack of documented ideology allowed him to become an eternal vessel, inspiring oppressed people around the world to fight the wars he never explicitly started.